Hi, my name is Laura Vernon. I am a Provost Fellow for Student Mental Health here at FAU, and I am also Professor of Psychology at the Wilkes Honors College. And I am joined today by two of my favorite people, one of my fellow Provost Fellows, Jenny Bloom, and a very distinguished research advisor from the Office of Undergraduate Research, Donna Chamleybeek. So I'll let Jenny introduce herself, and then we'll turn it over to Donna.
Hello, I'm Jenny Bloom, and I'm a professor in the Higher Education Leadership Program, where I coordinate the master's degree program, and I also serve as a Provost Fellow in charge of leadership and professional development initiatives. Donna?
So I'm Donna Chamleybeek. I'm Assistant Dean for Undergraduate Research. I have the distinct pleasure of leading the Undergraduate Research Initiative. And I'm also an Associate Scientist in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. I'm very, very happy to be here with two of my favorite people too.
Terrific. So the three of us were talking about the unique challenges and the unique opportunities that COVID-19 brings when thinking about undergraduate research. That from a faculty perspective, some of us who typically do face-to-face lab work, our labs may be closed or maybe under social distancing rules. And so this means that things may be different in terms of what things are available for students. And students themselves may have more free time, perhaps because they're not working some of the service industry jobs this summer that they typically would be working. And so this brings about some spare time and maybe some different kinds of opportunities. And so I thought Donna could share a little bit with us about some of her thoughts on what undergraduates might do at this point in time if they're thinking about getting a little bit of research experience in the social sciences or the natural sciences or even some of the humanities.
Sure. So for students that are currently involved, one of the things that we encourage them to do is to maintain communication lines with their faculty mentors, because our faculty mentors are amazing in pivoting. And that's kind of what the approach that we've been telling people to do, is to take that very easy pivot approach of, okay, if I can't do this, what can I do? Some of the suggestions that we're providing to faculty of other things that students could be doing could be things like having them complete or revising a lit review, or creating a lit review for a new project that the faculty member has benched for a bit and they weren't quite ready to kind of delve into a new project that they had in mind. Some other things that our undergraduates could be doing would be preparing annotated bibliographies or looking for new research skills or online trainings that might be available. A lot of our faculty have been assigning research articles or book chapters and having the undergraduate students perhaps provide summary reports, because that helps the undergrad and the faculty member keep up to date with the current and the ongoing literature in the field that the faculty members have been working on with the undergrads. For our honors students, of course, it's important for those students to kind of keep abreast and work on sections and chapters of their honors thesis. But for any of our undergrads, it would be neat for them to kind of take a shot at perhaps thinking about submitting some of their work for a journal. And so one cool thing to know is that the undergraduate research journal is accepting applications. That could be somewhere that the undergraduate students could kind of put their efforts towards trying to write their work up and submitting it to a peer-reviewed journal. If there is data sets that are available or data that has already been collected, some things that could be done as well would be putting those efforts towards analyzing and interpreting previously collected data. And one last fail-safe, of course, is keeping up on research training, city trainings, or any of these other kinds of trainings that the students may need to be kept abreast with. So those are some suggestions that we've been providing to both our faculty and our students. At the end of the day, if the relationship and the mentoring continues, those outcomes can be flexible, because even the process of trying to figure out how to pivot through these experiences in itself provides the same skills that we want our undergraduate students to kind of master and learn.
Sure.
That's really helpful information. I'm wondering what happens if I'm like a sophomore at FAU and I haven't been involved with undergraduate research yet, and now I have, some opportunities to do some things that I wasn't, thinking about 8 weeks ago. And undergraduate research is something that I might want to get involved with. Is that going to be possible if I'm just getting started for the first time?
Absolutely. So the good thing about being virtual is that the Office of Undergraduate Research and all of our resources have gone virtual. And we are all available all days of the week, 24/7 via email and phone call to answer your questions and to kind of walk you through how to get involved in undergraduate research. So if there are any newbies that are listening to this webinar, the first thing that we would encourage you to do is to either email or contact any one of our staff members or even myself within the office to set up a virtual appointment. And what we do is we walk you through by sharing our screen tips and strategies about how to get involved in undergraduate research, how to narrow down what you're interested in, and how to find a faculty mentor. One of the other things that we did very quickly, which was kind of cool, is one of our team members created a Canvas website and populated it with all of our workshop information that's available. So all of the live workshops are now available to students through Canvas, but we also continue to offer periodic live workshops. So for example, tomorrow, there's going to be a live Facebook workshop on how to submit to the Undergraduate Research Journal. So as current as we can be, that's an opportunity for us to say, hey, come to us and we can help you navigate those waters. But all of the resources are available and our office has adjusted to make sure that we continue to meet the needs of all of our students.
Great. One other question I had was, if an FAU faculty member has not had an undergraduate researcher from your office yet, but now they're thinking this might be actually really helpful, what is the process for faculty members wanting to inquire about opportunities to host a student in their lab?
Excellent. Good question. So there's two ways in which I would suggest the faculty member pursue. The first one's the easiest, and that's reach out to us in OURI. Again, shoot either me or somebody else an email to say, hey, I'm a new faculty member. Our office can recruit students on the faculty member's behalf once we get some basic information about what they're looking for, when does the project start, and kind of the parameters around what type of student they're looking for. The second thing that the faculty member can do is there is a system that the Division of Research created. It used to be called Research Hub. It's now being called, I think, SparkX, but it's a pairing matching system for faculty that are looking to make collaborations. And now collaborations could be faculty to faculty, it could be faculty to student, or it could be faculty to undergraduate student or grad or undergrad student. And so what you can do is you can log into the Research Hub or the SparkX system, and you can post a profile of what research you're doing, and then you can put some comments looking for an undergraduate student, and then we can transfer that information to our student body to have them look through the SparkX system. So there's two ways in which faculty members can do that. We also have great resources that we can provide. I would say when we get back on campus, we have these great short booklets, how to mentor undergraduate students in research, that we've distributed to new faculty in the past. So when we get back on campus, that's another thing that we can do, is kind of take a walk over and drop one of those booklets off to any new faculty member that's interested.
Donna, one of the things that we were talking about last week was just the idea that with COVID-19, faculty who are already mentoring students might need to be a little bit more flexible, might need to think about what situations the students in their lab are confronting at this time. Yeah. Would you say a little bit about what kinds of considerations you would suggest for faculty kind of getting through this mentoring cycle right now?
Yeah, I know for me as a faculty member, having to transition into this remote environment was very difficult. And we know from survey data and reaching out to students, it's as difficult, if not even more difficult for the students that have been displaced. I think displaced is the right word. They've been displaced from normalcy. They've been displaced from what they signed up for. And they've been displaced from their expectations of what they were going to get out of this experience. At the same time, they have additional challenges that they are kids of parents that perhaps may be going through, or they themselves, because you know what, 65% of our students pay some form of money to come to school. A lot of those jobs are unknown. Their statuses and their security with a financial lens is unknown as well. The other thing to think about is many of our students went home. I'm an international, and I know what that means. And for me, that would have meant leaving the United States and traveling to a different country. We have undergraduate scholars that are in South Africa that are dealing with time differences, but internet capability differences and access differences. If we have some of our students that have gone to other parts of the world or other parts of the country. And so one of the things that we've been encouraging is, of course, this concept of flexibility. Not just flexibility in terms of the expectation of what should have been accomplished, but the flexibility in the context of not knowing where the students are at emotionally, physically, mentally, and capability wise. And I think that flexibility and the natural tendency of a faculty mentor to be a mentor, we know will come across, and that generosity of spirit, but also their flexibility and willingness to listen is, I think, something that even more so now than before becomes more important. And so those are the kinds of the things that we're trying to encourage faculty to think about from not just a research standpoint, but from a student standpoint, is they may not have access to just the normalcy of being able to accomplish things in a timely manner. And much of that might entirely be out of their frame of control. And those are the kinds of things that we want to kind of bring back to the forefront so that they understand from a parameter standpoint that we all need to be flexible. But I think in true fashion, it's important for us to share to the students however important it is to communicate to the faculty as much as they can and are willing to share. Because I think the more that we know is the more that we can help. And I think that's the intent, is not just flexibility on one side, but willingness to communicate and share on both sides so that we know what we're dealing with, and then we can problem solve to kind of come to a mutually agreeable outcome. Does that help?
I agree. Yeah, it does. Well, I think that's what's tricky right now is exactly not being in the same space with our students means that we're a little bit more reliant on the information that they're willing to share with us. And I think a lot of research mentors, faculty in general, don't want to be intrusive or prying, right?
Yes.
We do want our students to feel like they have the boundaries and the privacy that they want, but that would be one of my big encouragements too, would be to certainly let people know what your challenges are, but at the same time, sure, throw out what your interests are, what your goals are, and see how those can be met in creative ways. That I think one of the things about being a teacher in the classroom is that we often design experiences and design whole courses that build in a very predictable way for students, and research is not like that at all, right? Research is unpredictable and messy, and there's a lot of failures and a lot of false starts. And so this pandemic also, you know, right, is just one more part of a ever-changing sort of challenge for researchers to change what they're doing and adjust. And I think a lot of them will do it and do it well. And so if students reach out with interests, I think they'll be surprised how much they can get involved in various ways.
Yeah, and I know there are some faculty members that are doing really creative things within their research groups to keep this concept of community happening. And so we have a couple of our faculty members that are doing Zoom group meetings where everybody's faces are on screens, and it's not just about research, it's just kind of a touch point. And there's lots of happy faces and lots of happy students that can get that academic, that community feeling through the research environment. And I think that's equally as important.
Well, thanks so much, Donna. This has really been helpful. And before we log off here, can you share your web address for the office?
Sure. I have to look that up. I'm just kidding. It's fau.edu/OURI. That's fau.edu/OURI. And our email is ouri@fau.edu. Very novel.
And it's a gold mine. There is so much on.
That's what our phone number is, 297-OURI.
Wow, good branding.
Wow.
Keep up the great work. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Donna.
Bye-bye.
Take care.